The Constitutional Convention by Orban Shaw, Casey Kernigan, and Sloan Fong. Firstly, we'll be going over the purpose and background. After the American Revolution, the United States was governed by the Articles of Confederation. The system gave most of the power to the individual states and created a very weak national government. At the time, that made sense. The country had just fought free itself from a strong central authority. But over time, it became clear that the system couldn't handle major national issues. The government had no power to regulate trade, raise money through taxes, or settle disputes between states. As a result, the country faced serious economic problems and growing tension between regions. The turning point came with Shays' Rebellion, a protest by farmers in Massachusetts who were upset about the debt and high prices. The rebellion showed just how powerless the federal government really was, and it alarmed many leaders. In response, delegates from 12 of the 13 states met in Philadelphia in 1787. Their original goal was to revise the Articles of Confederation, but once the delegates began discussing the country's problems, it became clear that small changes wouldn't be enough. Instead of fixing the old system, they decided to create an entirely new one. A stronger, more effective government that could actually meet the needs of the nation while still protecting individual and state rights.
At the Constitutional Convention, delegates faced a lot of challenges and disagreements while trying to create this new government. One big issue was between large and smaller states. Large states wanted more votes in Congress because they had more people, while smaller states wanted each state to have the same number of votes no matter how big or small they were. This caused lots of tension. There was also a big debate between northern and southern states about enslaved people. Southern states wanted enslaved people to count in their population so they could get more representatives in Congress. Northern states didn't think this was fair, especially since enslaved people had no rights. Another major challenge was deciding how much power the federal government should have compared to the states. Some delegates wanted a strong central government, while others were worried that it would become too powerful and take away people's freedoms. They also didn't agree on how the president should be elected, or how long they should serve. This was a brand new idea, so there wasn't a clear plan. Lastly, many delegates were afraid that a strong government might take away individual rights. This later concern led to the creation of the Bill of Rights to protect people's freedoms. These debates and disagreements show how hard it is to build a government that works for everyone in a new and growing country.
Now that we've covered the background, challenges, and issues of the Constitutional Convention, I'll be talking about the outcome, ratification process, and the long-term impact. So as we know, the Constitutional Convention took place over multiple months, filled with intense discussion and compromise. The delegates at the Constitutional Convention successfully crafted the U.S. Constitution that would become the backbone of the United States government. Creating it was just the beginning. To make the Constitution official, it had to be approved by at least 9 of the 13 states, which began the ratification process. Delaware became the first state to ratify the Constitution, showing strong support for the new framework. Other states followed, though they were not all quick to agree. Rhode Island was the last state to ratify it, only doing so after the new government was already in operation. The Constitution was formally adopted in 1788, which marked a major milestone in the timeline of the American government. The real importance of the Constitution lies in its lasting impact. It established the core principles of federalism, individual rights, and also set up a system of separation of powers, and that prevented any one branch from becoming too powerful. These ideas became the foundation for how the U.S. government works even today. So even though it took time, debate, and compromise, the ratification of the Constitution changed the course of history and built the framework for a more unified and resilient nation.